There are 5 new main class weapons available to you in the They Shall Not Pass DLC for Battlefield 1, some of which have multiple variants, making 8 new weapon combinations in total. The Shogun Inertial, the Ribe Roll belong to the Assault class, the RSC 1917 in both optical and factory options are for Medic, the Shosho Telescopic and Low Weight are made available for Support, and the Scout class gets a new toy in the form of the Lebel 1886 in either Sniper or Infantry form. That's all well and good, but how do I unlock them and what's the best way to do it? Well, first of all, you need to own the DLC. If you have premium, you can play it right now in fact. And then when you're in the French countryside surrounded by tanks, you can obtain all of the weapons by completing specific weapon assignments for each one. I actually like this system, it makes you work to get them and also broaden your horizons a bit when it comes to weaponry. Admittedly, some assignments are more annoying than others, but I actually enjoyed doing some of the ones I thought I would hate. So what are they? Well, let's start with the Shogun Inertial Shotgun. If you want this lovely Swedish creation, you need to get 50 kills with the Model 10 Slug. That's important. You can't just use any Model 10 version, you have to use the Slug, and then in one round get 15 kills with the M97 Trench Gun. 2 parts, both pretty straightforward. I personally found Fort Vaux perfect for this one. Most large game modes will work just fine, but Conquest can be a little easier because you're primarily based inside the fort on that game mode, and so most engagements are more close range. The Model 10 Slug variant is actually super powerful. You can kill people from distances you wouldn't necessarily expect to. But the scope takes a little bit of getting used to, for me it did at least. But once you've cracked that one, getting 15 kills in one round of Conquest or say Frontlines with the M97 should be a cakewalk. And as for the unlock itself, the Inertial is a semi-auto shotgun and on maps like Fort Vaux it works perfectly. It doesn't have the initial punch of, let's say, the Hunter, but because it's semi-auto you can get a few shots off on an enemy to help take them down. It does struggle a bit on the bigger maps like Soissons and Rupture. It doesn't have the sort of range you may be used to if you use the Slug A10 for example. Overall though, a fun weapon to use. And then the second new weapon unlock for the Assault class is the Ribe Roll SMG. And one part of this assignment was a bit more annoying for me. The first part is simple enough, in fact, it has you using the Automatico factory to get 50 kills. Dare I say that I enjoyed that part a bit too much. The second part though is a bit more frustrating, get 20 headshot kills with the MP18 optical. This took me a little while because I'm not overly keen on the optical version of the MP18 and you have to get a kill with a headshot for it to count. You may think you're getting more headshots on the assignment than you actually are. This one just takes a bit of patience. I did it on Soissons because I found that there were more snipers and other players on the hills near the ruins that I could flank and place my shots a bit more. Fort Vaux is a bit more fast paced, but if you already like the optical you could do it easily on there as well. The Automatico of course would be perfect on Fort Vaux and Verdun. And once you've unlocked it, the Ribe Roll is a super accurate SMG, that's the main thing it's got going for it. It doesn't fire as fast as the Automatico, in fact it's relatively slow by comparison, but its accuracy is what sets it apart. I think it perhaps isn't quite as good as it was in the CTE, but you can take down enemies at ranges you may not initially expect. I will say that I find the sight quite tricky to use though, I often lose track of enemies because the sight for me at least is hard to track with. Whilst this gun is a good unlock, I'm not sure it's going to replace the others in the Assault class as my go-to weapons. Moving on now to Medic, and this time you're trying to unlock the RSC 1917 in either factory or optical form. Thankfully, part of both of the assignments can be done at the same time by just playing as a medic. To unlock the factory version you need 50 kills with the M1907 Sweeper and then 50 revives. For the optical variant you need 15 kills in a round with the auto-loading factory and 75 heals. Just by playing medic on any of the maps you're guaranteed to work towards revives and heals, assuming that you're playing your role that is. Getting kills with the Sweeper shouldn't be too difficult as it's a pretty nice weapon with a really large magazine enabling multiple kills if your aim is on point. For the sake of a change of scenery I did this one on Verdun and it worked a treat, and the 15 kills with the auto-loading factory is actually a lot of fun because statistically the auto-loading factory variant is one of the best weapons in the game. Pick your shots though as it's only got a 5 bullet mag, but each of those bullets hits really hard. So what about the RSC then once you've unlocked it? It's a beast, honestly, I love it. Some people aren't so happy with it, but on maps like Soissons, Rupture, and especially on defensive modes like Frontlines and Operations, I think this weapon just shines. You can sit on a hill and practically snipe players with it. At close to medium range it will 2-bang an enemy, so while you don't have a fast firing gun, if you have accurate fire, you can still take down closer enemies. This medic gun offers something very different from say the auto-loading or the Seragotti. You want to sit back a bit more with this and appreciate the sound and destruction. Now swiftly moving on to the support unlock, the Shosho. No, that's not a French dance, it's a highly unreliable World War I LMG that turns out to be a very effective Battlefield 1 weapon. Just like the RSC, there are 2 variants you can unlock here, the telescopic and the low weight. For the low weight you need 50 kills with the Lewis gun suppressive and 75 resupplies. The Lewis gun suppressive isn't loved by that many people, but honestly I found it okay to use. Sure, it doesn't drop people as fast as other weapons, but if you can perch up somewhere near the trenches in Rupture or on Operations on Fort Vaux, you can cause a ton of damage. You don't want to be running around at close range with this thing though, you need to keep your distance and sit a bit further back, but the kills will come. In regards to the resupplies, well that will just happen as you play, just always throw ammo even if no one asks for it. Get the ammo pouch and whenever it's available to you, throw it at teammates. When you're running to a flag, throw it at a flag, just throw it. If you want to be super keen, you can equip the ammo pouch to throw and the ammo crate to drop around a group of players on either Operations or again, Fort Vaux is a great one for it because players tend to stack up at choke points. You'll get all the resupplies in no time at all. The telescopic version of this gun on the other hand has some different requirements. 15 kills in a round with the M1909 Benet Mercy telescopic. Fairly straightforward. I like this weapon and I think it's better than the Lewis gun personally, so stick to the same rules and you shouldn't go too far wrong. And then you need 10 kills with the mortar. Now while you can get those kills technically on Fort Vaux, it doesn't exactly scream mortar, does it? I found that Frontlines and Operations were the best game modes to get kills with the mortar as there's always a group of defensive players. Operations on Verdun proved very fruitful indeed. Also it doesn't specify what mortar you have to use, but Airburst is the best against infantry. Now what of the Shosho? Well, it's an odd one. It's a slow firing LMG but it packs quite a punch. In certain engagements it can be fantastic, but if you get yourself with too many enemies in front of you or perhaps in too close proximity, it isn't going to go in your favour. It does do high damage but it fires pretty slowly, so picking your shots is really important. I found that on maps like Fort Vaux it worked relatively well, but you can't expect to run around those tight corridors and not have it go wrong a few times. Ideally Operations and Frontlines is where you can sit and defend, that would be perfect. And that leaves us with our final primary weapon unlock, the Lebel Model 1886 for the Scout class. I wonder how many variants this one has. Yep, you guessed it, 2, Infantry and Sniper. If you want the infantry version, you need to get 50 kills with the Gewehr M95 Infantry and 20 spot flare assists. Firstly, the M95 Infantry is actually a really nice weapon to use, probably my second favourite scout weapon because it effectively has a straight pull bolt, meaning you can fire off multiple shots really fast, so as an infantry weapon it works very well. Rupture or Soissons is your best bet as it's a bit more long range, but you can do it on Verdun if you're feeling a bit fruity. The 20 flare spot assists are a bit trickier as it requires you to use your flares to spot enemies and then they need to be killed by a teammate. The best habit is to constantly use them when pushing a flag with friendlies and you'll get the assists quite quickly. I actually went onto Fort Vaux and used the flare gun spotting inside the map. So many enemies get spotted and you're bound to get an assist for any one of those that are killed. Lots of choke points guaranteeing top spots. And then to the sniper variant, you need 5 headshots with the Russian 1895 sniper and 10 periscope spot assists. The headshots with the 1895 will just take a bit of patience if you aren't used to sniping, or will be pretty easy if you are. Just pick your shots. Rupture is great for this as there are lots of heads always appearing from the trenches and on the bridge. I actually did my periscope assist on this map as well for that exact same reason. Just get your periscope out at every chance and spot as many enemies as you can. I was pleasantly surprised how fast I managed to do this. I thought it was going to be a nightmare. So the weapon then, once you've unlocked it, is actually a fun weapon to use. It fits right in the middle of the other snipers that we already had, but one thing sets it apart: the sound and also the animation. It packs such a punch and a thud that it makes it sound so good. It's a medium to long range sniper, but you have to bear in mind that its reload is a bit longer than some of the others due to the design of the rifle, a small drawback from that epic sound. In truth, you can really get any assignment on any map, and I just flicked between certain assignments as I played depending on the map to both make it easier for me and just to keep it a bit fresh. In reality, you may not even want some of the weapons or their variants, so you can just pick and choose really. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this weapons unlock guide for the They Shall Not Pass DLC. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.